Dear student, in this video we will learn chapter number 7, variation. In this video we are going to learn about direct variation. If you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe it today itself. Let's start. Let's recap. Here we have a table. The first row indicates your number of notebook and second row is cost of notebook in rupees, and third one is x upon y, that is ratio of number of notebook with its cost. Suppose the number of notebook is 12 and the cost of 12 notebook is 240. Okay, so ratio of number of notebook with its cost, that means x upon y, will be 12 upon 240. 12 upon 240, and the 12 upon 240, if we'll go for simplification of this fraction, you will get 1 upon 20. So 1 upon 20 is the ratio of number of notebook with its cost. So here what would be the cost of one notebook? If you want to know the cost of one notebook, you need to divide 240 by 12. If I'll divide 240 by 12, I'll get 20 rupees. So the cost of one notebook is 20. Suppose now the number of notebook is 3. So what would be the cost of 3 notebook? Now here I know the cost of one notebook, it's 20. So the cost of 3 notebook will be 3 into 20, that is 60. Okay, now we will find the ratio of 3 and 60, that is 3 upon 60. Okay, 3 upon 60, the simplest form of 3 upon 60 is 1 upon 20. Now suppose the number of book is 9. So the cost of 9 notebook will be 9 into 20, that is 180. Now we will find here ratio of 9 and 180. So 9 upon 180, if we'll go for the simplest form of 9 upon 180, you'll get 1 upon 20. Suppose the number of notebook is 24. So what would be the cost of 24 notebook? 24 into 20, that is 480. Now we will find ratio of 24 upon 480. Okay, 24 upon 480. If we'll go for the simplest form of 24 upon 480, you'll get 1 upon 20. Let the number of notebook is 50. So the cost of 50 notebook is 50 into 20, that is 1000. Now find the ratio of 50 with 1000, that means 50 upon 1000. 50 upon 1000, simplest form of 50 upon 1000 is 1 upon 20. Now you can see in this table, if the number of book is decreasing, then their cost is also decreasing. And if the number of book is increasing, then their cost is also increasing. Such change is known as direct variation. So what is a direct variation? When one quantity increases, other related quantity also increases, and one quantity decreases, other related quantity also decreases. Such change is known as direct variation. And you can see the ratio of those two quantity is 1 upon 20. Alright, so the ratio of two quantity is always constant if there is a direct variation between those two quantities. Okay, you can see from the table what we have learned. What we saw that the ratio of number of notebook and their cost is 1 upon 20. That is x upon y equals to 1 upon 20. It means there is a direct variation between x and y. Let's learn more about direct variation. Suppose there are two quantities x and y, and there is a direct variation between x and y. Using mathematical symbol, it can be written as x, and you can see there is a alpha between x and y, and this alpha is known as variation sign. So we read this as x varies directly as y. We can read this as x varies directly as y, and alpha is a Greek letter and it is used to denote a variation. If you want to denote a variation between two quantity, we write alpha sign between those two quantity. X upon y equals to k. As I had explained you that the ratio of two quantity is constant when there is a direct variation between two quantities. Therefore, x upon y equals to k. Alright? Which can also be written as x equals to ky. How? Because if we'll shift y from left hand side to the right hand side, so we will get x equals to k into y, that is ky. So you can say x upon y equals to k or x equals to ky is the equation form of direct variation. Okay, it is known as equation form of direct variation, and here k is known as constant of variation. Okay, so what is the equation of variation? Direct variation, x upon y equals to k, and where k is constant of variation. Here we have question number 1. Write the following statements using the symbol of variation. The first question is circumference, that is c, of a circle is directly proportional to its radius, that is r. So you can see there is a direct variation between circumference and its radius, and I have to write this using symbol of variation. So what is the first quantity over here? C, that is circumference. And what is second quantity over here? R. So between C and R, we will write variation sign, that is alpha. So the answer is C alpha R, that is C varies directly as R. Now here we have question number 2. Consumption of petrol, that is L, in a car and distance travelled by that car, that is D, are in direct variation. So you can see there is a direct variation between consumption of petrol and the distance travelled by a car. That means between L and D. So here the first quantity is L and the second quantity is D. Okay, and between an L and D we will put symbol of variation, that is alpha. So we will write this as, you can see that it is L and then alpha and then it is D. We read this as L varies directly as D. Question 2. Complete the following table considering that the cost of apples and their numbers are in direct variation. So what is given here? There is a direct variation between cost of apples and number of apples. And here we have a table. You can see that here the number of apple is denoted with the letter X and the cost of apple is denoted with letter Y. Okay, and you can see here the cost of one apple is 8. Cost of 4 apple is 32. Okay, now here we have to find out the number of apples and their cost is given here 56. And here number of apple is given 12, and here we have to find out cost of 12 apples, and here the number of apple is unknown but we know their cost is 160. Okay, so we have to complete this table. Let's see how to complete this table. Let's see the solution of this question. The cost of apples and their numbers are in direct variation. So using variation symbol, we can write this statement as y varies directly as x. You can see there is a alpha sign between y and x, and the alpha is for variation symbol. So we write y varies directly as x. Now what is the rule of direct variation? The rule says that the ratio of those two quantity is constant. So what are the two quantities in this? The first quantity is y and second quantity is x. So the ratio of first quantity with the second, that means y upon x, equals to k. And here k stands for constant of variation, which you can also write as y equals to kx. And that would be the equation number 1. Okay, now this equation will help us to get the values at the place of unknown box. And here we have a table. Okay, now y equals to kx is equation number 1, and that is the equation of variation. Okay, now look at over here. First we will find here the value of k, right? And if you want to know the value of k, you should know the value of y and x. Okay, so we can refer this table to know the value of y and x. You can see that here x is 1, and when x is 1, then y is 8. So I can take here y equals to 8 and x equals to 1. Or if you want, you can take x equals to 4 when y is 32. So you can use any one of the value. You can take 1 and 8, or you can take 4 and 32 to get the value of k. So let's see over here. When x is 1 and y equals to 8, you can see in the table, if x is 1, then y is 8. Now we will substitute this value in equation number 1. Okay, so what we will get? At the place of y, we will write 8, and at the place of y, we will write 8, and at the place of x, we will write 1. So we will get 8 equals to k into 1, and k into 1 is k, so k equals to 8. Now we know the constant of variation, that is 8. Now what we are going to do, we are going to substitute value of k in equation number 1. Can you see equation number 1? Here we have equation number 1, and we are going to replace k by 8. So what we will get, if we will replace k by 8, we will get y equals to 8x. Y equals to 8x, and that would be equation number 2. And now this equation will help us to complete this table. You can see now over here, we know the cost of apples. We know the cost of apple, that is 56. That means we know the value of y. And we have to find out number of apples. That means we have to find out x. So I know the value of y. What is the value of y? It's 56. So we are going to substitute here the value of y as 56 in equation number 2. Okay, so let's see here. So when y equals to 56, then what would be x? So we will substitute this value in equation number 2. Let's see what we will get when we will substitute value of y in equation 2. So we will get 56 equals to 8x. 56 equals to 8x. Now we will move 8 to left hand side of equal to. So we will get 56 upon 8. We will get 56 upon 8. Now we will cancel 56 by 8. We will get x equals to 7. So now here I know the number of apple is 7. Number of apple is 7 when the cost of apples is 56. Now we are going to find out here cost of apples, that means y. And what we know now? We know the number of apples, that means we know x. So we are going to substitute value of x in equation 2 to get the value of y. Okay. So here when x equals to 12, then y equals to question mark. That means when the number of apple is 12, then cost of 12 apple is question mark. So we will substitute this in equation number 2. We will substitute x equals to in equation number 2. And here we have equation number 2, that is y equals to 8x. So what we are going to do, we are going to replace x by 12. So what we will get, y equals to 8 into 12. So y equals to 96. Okay, so here y is 96. That means when the number of apple is 12, then the cost of 12 apple is 96. Now we will go for the third blank box, and here we don't know the number of apples. That means we don't know the value of x, but we know the cost of apples, that is 160. That means we know the y. So we are going to substitute here value of y as 160 in equation number 2. Alright. So when y is 160, then x equals to question mark. So substituting y equals to 160 in equation number 2, and what was equation number 2? It was y equals to 8x. Now we are going, I'm going to replace here x. I'm going to replace here x, sorry, I'm going to replace here y with 160. So what we will get? 160 equals to 8x. Now we will shift a to left hand side of equal to. So we will get 160 upon 8. Okay, and 160 upon 8 gives us 20. So here x equals to 20. So now we can complete this table. We can write over here x equals to 20. Here we will write 20. Okay, so this way we have completed table. So what I have used it over here, rule of direct variation. And what is the rule? The ratio is constant. Now here we have question number 3. If m is directly proportional to n, it means if m varies directly as n, and when m is 154, n equals to 7, find the values of m when n equals to 14. Let's see the solution of this question. What is given here? M varies directly as n. So there is direct variation between m and n. And what is rule of direct variation? The ratio is constant. The ratio of those two quantities is constant. That means ratio of m and n is constant. Okay, so here the first quantity is m and second quantity is n. So m upon n equals to k. Now we can shift n to that side of equal to. So we will get m equals to kn. Okay, and k is constant of variation. Now this equation will help us to know the value of m when n is 14. So what we are going to do, now we are going to substitute here value of m and n. Okay, what is value of m? We can look at over here in the question. It is given 154 and the value of n is given here 7. So we are going to substitute here value of m as 154 and n equals to 7 in equation number 1 to get the value of k. Okay, so when m is 154 and n is 7, so we will get here 154 equals to k into 7. Now we will shift 7 to left hand side of equal to. So what we will get? K equals to 154 upon 7. Okay, now we will divide 154 by 7. So we will get k equals to 22. So we got the value of k. That means we got the constant of variation. Now I'm going to substitute here value of k in equation 1. Okay, so we will replace here k by 22. So you will get a new equation, and your new equation would be m equals to 22n. M equals to 22n, and that is equation number 2, and it is also be known as equation of variation. Now here when n is 14, then m equals to question mark. That means you have to find out value of m when n is 14. So what we are going to do, we are going to substitute value of n in equation 2. Okay, so what we will get, we will substitute this value in equation number 2. So we will get here m equals to 22 into 14. Okay, I have replaced here n by 14. So we got this 22 into 14, and we will multiply now. We will get m equals to 308. So when n is 14, then m will be 308. Question number 5. Y varies directly as square root of x. When x equals to 16, y equals to 24, find the constant of variation and equation of variation. Let's see the solution of this question. What is given here? Y varies directly as square root of x. Now we will write this statement using symbol of variation. So we can write this: y varies directly as square root of x. Okay, you can see there is an alpha sign between y and square root of x, and that alpha is for variation. It denotes symbol of variation. Now we are going to use over here rule of direct variation. What is the rule? The ratio of those two quantities constant. That means y upon root x equals to k, and where k is the constant of variation. Now here we are going to substitute value of y and x in this equation. Okay, we are going to substitute value of y and x in this equation to get the value of k. And you can see the value of x is given here 16, and value of y is given over here 14. Okay, so first we will write this equation as y equals to k into root x, and that would be equation number 1. Now we are going to substitute the value of y and x in this equation, so we will get 24 equals to k into root 16. Okay, and root 16 is 4. Square root of 16 is 4, so we can write this one as 24 equals to 4k. Now we will shift 4 to that side of equal to, so what we will get, k equals to 24 upon 4. K equals to 24 upon 4. Now we will go for the simplification. We will cancel 24 by 4. We will get 6. So now substituting k equals to 6 in equation number 1. And what is equation number 1? Y equals to k root x. Y equals to k root x, and here we are going to substitute value of k as 6. So what would be your equation? It would be y equals to 6 root x, and this is called as equation of variation. So now I know the constant of variation, that is k, that is 6, and the equation of variation is y equals to 6 root x. Here we have question number 6. The total remuneration paid to the laborers employed to harvest soybean is in direct variation with the number of laborers. If the remuneration of 4 laborers is rupees 1000, find the remuneration of 17 laborers. Okay, so here what is given here? It is given that there is a direct variation between total remuneration and number of laborers. There is a direct variation between total remuneration and number of laborers. Okay, let's see the solution of this question. Suppose M represent total remuneration paid to the laborers and N represent number of laborers employed to harvest soybean. So what kind of variation is there between total remuneration and number of laborers? There is a direct variation. So we will write this M directly proportional to n, or m varies directly as n. You can see this symbol of direct variation between m and n. Now we are going to use your rule of direct variation. What is the rule? Ratio is constant. It means m upon n equals to k, which you can write as m equals to kn, where k is constant of variation. M equals to kn. We will consider this as equation number 1. Now here it is given remuneration of 4 labor is rupees 1000. Okay, it means n equals to 4 and m equals to 1000. Now we are going to substitute here value of m and n in equation number 1 to get the value of k. Okay, so substituting n equals to 4 and m equals to 1000 in equation number 1. So what we will get? 1000 equals to k into 4. Now we will shift 4 to left hand side of equal to, so we will get k equals to 1000 upon 4. Now we will go for the cancellation part. Okay, we'll divide 1000 by 4. We will get k equals to 250. Now we will substitute here value of k in equation number 1. Okay, so substituting k equals to 250 in equation number 1. So your equation number 1 will be m equals to 250n. Right, you can see that I have replaced k by 250. Okay, and we got this. That is known as equation of variation. So here m equals to 250n we will consider as equation number 2, and this will help us to get the required information. Now what is given here? We have to find remuneration of 17 labors. Okay, so here we know n is 17 and we have to find out here m. So substituting n equals to 17 in equation number 2, we will get m equals to 250 into 17. So m equals to 4250. It means remuneration paid to 17 labor is rupees 4250.